Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends. Welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch, and it's another busy week in the market, but not quite as busy as it was last week, and I do see a trend. Every week it's a little less and a little less, and I do think we are approaching some kind of stabilization. Quickly before we get into the details though, if you go over to flipsidegaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. And currently, if you want to pre-order either booster boxes or VIP boxes of Double Masters, you can do that there. When you use the Heroes promo code, the booster boxes of Double Masters come to $297, and shipping is free in the United States. Thought that was a pretty good price, wanted to pass that along. And whenever you use the promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you, and without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin as we always do with standard in your top 6 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Today we won't be talking about Core Set 2021 cards. They haven't quite stabilized yet. I'm going to wait for those prices to get a little more stable before I work them into the market watch. So serious standard players are going to choose their deck for the season if they can even play in paper this season. And then they're going to start selling off the cards that they're not planning on using that are going to rotate out. So you are going to see some cards beginning to decline at this point. So let's see what's happening. Number 6 is Vivian Arcbow Ranger, down 46 cents to $7.75. This card used to see a fair amount of play. Right now, it's really not seeing much play at all, if any. So I do think this is going to continue to lose value. Number 5 is Lotus Field. It goes down 47 cents to $6.20. Another card that's not really seeing standard play, but it does see play in Pioneer Lotus Breach, and it also does continue to see Commander play. Number 4 is Watery Grave from Ravnica, City of Guilds. It goes down 61 cents to $18.74. Now, there was one copy of the Guilds of Ravnica version of this card in the Fairy Scheme Sprawl deck that did get a lot of copies out there into the environment. This card has been pretty soft since then. It does see play in standard Sultai ramp builds and some other decks too, but it's not seeing the amount of play as some of the other Shocklands are going into this season, so I think that's another reason it is soft. Like all Shocklands though, this does also see play in Pioneer, Modern, and Commander. Number 3, another card not seeing a whole lot of standard play. It's Cavalier of Flame, going down 70 cents to $6.01. Now, it has seen some elevated Commander play, though, in decks like Rael the Everwise and Brawlin and Shabraz. Number 2 is Teferi Time Raveler, going down 83 cents to $16.68. Now, this is in Bant Ramp, Azorius Control, Bant Flash, and more in the format. Also sees play in Modern, Pioneer, Legacy, Vintage, and Commander, but it is losing a little value this week. Number 1 is Fabled Passage, down 98 cents to $9.99. Now, this has been a staple in both Standard and Pioneer really ever since it came out. There was an extra copy of this card in 2 of the 2020 Challenger decks, Final Adventure and Flash of Ferocity, but this was also reprinted in Core Set 2021, and that's why the card has been so soft recently. Alright, on to your top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Number 5 is Stomping Ground from Ravnica Allegiance, up 37 cents to $8.98. Now, there was a copy of this in the Savage Hunger Brawl deck, but it's still going up in value. Why is that? Well, it's part of the mana base of the most popular deck right now in Standard, and that's Temur Reclamation. Also shows up in some other decks too, like Jund's Sacrifice, for example. Number 4, Underrealm Lich, goes up 39 cents to $7.49. Now, this isn't seeing a whole lot of Standard play, but it has seen some increased Commander play in builds like Nethroi Apex of Death and Cathril Aspect Warper. Number 3 is Chromatic Lantern, another card that's not really a big standard card, but it is a highly played Commander card. Return to Ravnica goes up 51 cents to $8.86. Guilds of Ravnica goes up 58 cents to $8.52. Number 2, Questing Beast. This card is seeing standard play. You'll find this in Grill Midrange, Mono Green Monsters, and more. Also see some Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, and Commander play as well. It goes up 85 cents this week to $15.96. Number 1 is Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath, going up $7.25 to $58.52. Alright, that is very expensive for a standard card, but it is in Temur Reclamation, also in another popular deck, Bant Ramp. Beyond that, you'll find it in Sultai Ramp, Bant Flash, and more in the format, and additionally, it does see Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, and Commander play. Alright, let's move on to Pioneer and your top 5 Pioneer legal cards that have lost value this week. So there is a fair amount of retraction you're going to notice in this section, cards that were recently increasing, dropping back down in value. This could be in part because more sellers are returning to the marketplace, bringing more inventory, and that will lead to stabilization if there's more options out there. Number 5, a card that sees a little modern play, but it's a highly played commander card, and it has been spiking. It's Cyclonic Rift, the one from Return to Ravnica. It goes down $1.23 this week to $34.44. Number 4, Kalidas Trader of Get, down $1.41 to $20.71. Another card that has recently been increasing in value, stabilizing down. You'll find this in Mono Black Vampires, Dimir Inverter, and more in the Pioneer format. Number 3, the Scarab God, goes down $1.54 to $26.82. For a little while, there was a time where people thought this is going to be a killer card in Pioneer. It started to go up in value quite a bit quickly, and then it just kind of hung around. It didn't do a whole lot. Now it is starting to decline a little bit. Currently, it does see a little sideboard play in the format, but in Commander, it's a pretty popular card. Number 2 is Rise of the Dark Realms, down $2.65 to $23. Very solid Commander card. I do see it showing up in a lot of Tiny Bones Trinket Thief deck lists right now, too. So why is it going down in value when many other cards in those Tiny Bones decks are going up? Well, because this one got reprinted in Jumpstart. Number 1, Zakama Primal Calamity. This card has been spiking aggressively recently. This week it stabilizes down a little bit, down $2.87 to $30. Now again, this is a card that didn't spike because of Pioneer, but really because of Commander. This is a great card to be a Commander. It can just be a fair card in a Dino build, or if you want to create some loops, you can be unfair with this as well. All right, on to your top 6 Pioneer legal cards that have gained value this week, starting with number 6, Neheb the Eternal. This goes up $1.38 to $11.58. The key driver for cards going up in value right now is Commander, more so than anything. So be prepared to see a lot of Commander cards in this section. Now, this is a decent Commander and has seen more play in Obosh the Prey Piercer builds recently, but this is moving up right now because of a new legendary Minotaur in Jumpstart, Sethron Hurloon General. Number 5 is Crucible of Worlds from Magic 2019. It goes up $1.82 to $24.91. Now, this card doesn't see the modern or legacy play that it once did. Still sees some vintage play, but it's really more of a Commander card nowadays. Awesome in lands builds, but also very good in other decks too. This was on game nights this week, which could have brought some attention to it as well. Number 4, Liliana of the Dark Realms. Magic 2013 up $1 to $14.99. Magic 2014 up $2.67 to $17.57. This is another very solid Commander card that is now showing up in Tiny Bones deck lists. Number 3 is Waste Not, the one from Commander 2016. It goes up $4.18 to $17. This was seeing some increased Commander play because of Kroxa initially, but now, of course, this is a key card in those Tiny Bones decks. And this did get a Command Zone mention this week as well, which again could have brought a little more attention to the card, but it was already spiking prior to that. Number 2, the Chain Val. It goes up $4.90 to $26. Many times you'll find this in Atraxa builds, and that card is being reprinted in Double Masters. Also, too, this is played frequently with Ugin the Spirit Dragon in Commander, and that was just reprinted in Core Set 2021. But the reason I think this is moving this much right now is because we just got a whole new crop of Planeswalkers, and that tends to happen with this card. In particular, I think Teferi Master of Time is the card moving this one the most. Number 1, a card that actually does see play in Pioneer. It is Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, Magic 2015 up $1.38 to $27.97. Planar Chaos goes up $16.77 to $46.70, as that copy does dry up a little bit in the online marketplace this week. So you'll find this one in Mono Black Vampires, Mono Black Aggro, and some other decks in the format. It sees modern play, it sees legacy play, and yes, it does see Commander play too. It has seen increased play recently in Zexara builds, but I think again the key driver for this card moving as much as it is right now is Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. Okay, on to Modern, and the top 7 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week. Number 7 is Jace the Mind Sculptor from Masters 25, still hovering around $90. This week it goes down $3.07 to $91. This does continue to see modern play though. It's in Ban Control, Simic Reclamation, Ban Snow, and more. Also sees Legacy, Vintage, and Commander play too. Number 6 is Vorinclex Voice of Hunger from Iconic Masters, another card that has been spiking pretty wildly, stabilizing down this week $3.25 to $32. This is great in Commander big mana builds like Kinnan, but just generally this card sees a lot of play in a lot of different decks. Number 5 is Rings of Bright Hearth from Lorwyn, retracting off a spike that occurred last week. It goes down $3.31 to $50, and this is a highly played Commander card, great combo enabler. Number 4 is Misty Rainforest from Modern Masters 2017, one of the enemy fetches, going down $3.65 to $86.92 this week. Enemy fetches are highly played in any format where they are illegal. In Modern, for example, this is in Ban Control, Simic Reclamation, and more. but I think the main story here is the fact that Wizards is reprinting these cards. Now granted, this one in particular did spike not too long ago, so perhaps this is just retraction from that spike, but I think if you're not seeing it already, you are going to see these cards soften a little bit. So you have the Secret Lair Ultimate Edition out now, but that is expensive and very hard to find. If you pre-ordered a Summer Secret Lair bundle, you will get an enemy fetch land at random in your order, and that will lead to more copies getting out into the marketplace. And finally, Wizards did promise another printing of fetch lands this year in a non-standard product going to game stores. Number 3, another card that has been going up pretty aggressively recently, but a couple of the copies are going down significantly this week. It is City of Brass Chronicles down $3.37 to $20.99. 6th edition down $4.40 to $17.99. This is in Modern Ad Nauseam decks, Legacy Dredge decks, and of course it is a big Commander mana base card. Number 2, you can see the trend here. Another card that was spiking significantly, going down in value. It's Austere Command from Commander. It goes down $5.21 this week to $14.65. Fantastic white card for Commander. Number 1, same story again. Sliver Legion. This week it's going down $8.81 to $107.50. This card spiked wildly because Commander Sliver decks got popular again with the reprinting of Sliver Overlord and Sliver Hive Lord. Alright, let's move on to your top 5 modern legal cards that have gained value this week. Number 5 is a card that's getting reprinted in Double Masters, but nobody bothered to tell the Modern Masters copy of Doubling Season as it goes up $5.25 this week to $65.99. Now, this is a highly played Commander card. It's in Atraxa builds, and that is another card getting reprinted in Double Masters. Current copies of that card have been going down in value, which could be pushing this a little bit, perhaps. Also, remember, Reese the Redeemed was reprinted in Mystery Boosters, another card that got cheaper that plays well with this. This has seen increased play too in some new builds like Zaxara the Exemplary, Rin and Ciri Inseparable, Xera's the Writhing Storm, and it did get a mention in one of the professor's videos on Tolarian Community College as well this week, which could have brought some attention to it too. Number 4, Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, Rise of the Eldrazi up $209 to $42.84, and Modern Masters 2015 up $820 to $52.50. Typically, you'll find this in Kozilek the Great Distortion builds and Commander, and it has seen some increased play in Kinnan builds as well. It did get a Command Zone mention this week too, though. Alright, our next 3 cards are all going to be going up, at least in part because of a new Core Set 2021 card, Conspicuous Snoop. Number 3, the first one is Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker from Champions of Kamigawa. It goes up $8.40 this week to $31. Modern Brewers, they're trying to make it happen. The combo of Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker, Conspicuous Snoop, Bogart Harbinger, Sling Gang Lieutenant is actually being played right now in Modern in a Goblin build. Can that build get there? Can it become one of the major players in Modern? Time will tell, but right now a lot of people are trying to build that deck. Also, too, you have Commander players trying to put together that combo either in an existing deck or a new Goblin deck as well. Sometimes they throw a Mog Fanatic in there as a backup to Sling Gang Lieutenant. And with all the excitement around the whole Conspicuous Snoop combo thing, it's easy to forget that we got a new legendary Goblin in Jumpstart, and that's Muxus Goblin Grandy, as well as a reprinting of Krenko Mob Boss. I do think regardless of what happens in Modern, you will be seeing a lot of Goblins in Commander. Number 2 is Cavern of Souls, Ultimate Masters up $3.81 to $69.99, Avacyn Restored up $7.22 to $75, Modern Masters 2017 goes up $9.01 to $78.23. In Modern, this is a big card. It's in Amulet Titan, Humans, Eldrazi Tron, and now in that new Goblin deck as well. Aside from that, it sees Legacy and Vintage play, and it's a popular Commander card in Tribal builds too, not just Goblin builds either. But it's also seen some increased play in Winona Joiner of Forces builds and Rin and Ciri Inseparable builds. Number 1, another card from that Modern Goblin deck, it is Auntie's Hovel. It goes up $19.94 to $45. And aside from Modern, you do see this in some Goblin builds in Commander. And that brings us to the Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that see play in Legacy, Vintage, 93-94, or cards that are just popular among collectors. Probably some Commander cards too. We'll begin with City of Traders on the reserve list, going up $5.59 to $157.48. This does see Legacy play in Sneak and Show, Painter's Grindstone, Eldrazi Stompy, and more. Demonic Tutor, Dual Decks, Divine vs. Demonic, up $1.26 to $37. Unlimited goes up $1.82 to $69.81. Revised at $5.68 this week to $43.40. Obviously, this sees Vintage play, but remember, tutors are critical in competitive Commander builds. Probably not a coincidence either that Demonic Tutor, a tutor that's in black, is going up in value this much this week because so many people are trying to build Tiny Bones decks. As a matter of fact, we're going to see a similar card in a moment. Next up, though, is Entomb from Odyssey, going up 718 to 2849. This does see Legacy play in Reanimator and more, and it has seen increased Commander play in Nethroi Apex of Death builds. Volcanic Island from Revised, one of the dual lands on the reserve list, going up 775 this week to 464.93. Vampiric Tutor, here's the card I was alluding to earlier. This is the one from Eternal Masters. It goes up 817 to 113.98 this week. Triskelion from Antiquities has a pretty big percentage jump this week, up 1053 to $70.20. Technically a modern legal card, but really moving because it is a vintage Magic card more than anything. Speaking of which, Su-Chi on the reserve list from Antiquities goes up 1070 to 58.98. Bayou from Revised on the reserve list, another dual. It goes up 1124 to 336.66. Next is an Arabian Nights reserve list card. It's If Biff Ifrit. It goes up 1333 to 129.39. And another revised dual land on the reserve list. It is Badlands, going up 1417 to 305.66. Gaia's Cradle from Urza Saga on the reserve list, but it did get reprinted as a Judge foil before they closed that loophole. It goes up 1608 this week to 544.99. In Legacy, this is in Elves decks and more there. In Vintage, you'll find this in Hollowvine. It's a fantastic Commander card as well if you're lucky enough to have a copy, and it can be very good in some of the newer builds like Zixara and Kinnan. Null Rod, this is on the reserve list, and it does continue to climb up 1801 to 73.98. In Vintage, you'll find this in the main deck of Golo Stacks, also in the sideboard of some other decks in the format, and it has seen some competitive Commander play too. Lion's Eye Diamond on the reserve list, it goes up 1863 to 329.99. In Legacy, you'll find this in Storm builds and Dredge. It sees Vintage play too. And in Commander, you'll see it there too. It does combo with Wheel of Fortune, Underworld Breach, and Thassa's Oracle. Sarah's Sanctum, this goes up 3164 to 188.41, also on the reserve list. It does see Legacy play in enchantment builds, and many times in Commander enchantment heavy decks, this card will show up too. Those decks have been pushed recently too by the Core Set 2021 shrines. Mana Crypt, the original book giveaway copy, it goes up 98.38 to 402.52 as this version of the card just dries up in the marketplace. Maybe a targeted buyout, maybe it just dried up naturally, but it is spiking very aggressively as you can see. It was recently reprinted too in Mystery Boosters. It's getting another reprint in Double Masters, but this variation of the card is a collector's item on its own. Great card in Vintage, great card in Commander. Speaking of Commander, that brings us to the Commander Spotlight. It is still sizable, not as big as it has been. It is getting a little smaller every week. I'm still going to go quickly through these though for time purposes because there's a lot to cover. So here we go. Fierce Guardianship. This whole cycle from Commander 2020 is awesome. This one goes up $1 this week to $33.97. Reforge the Soul from Avacyn Restored up $1.01 to $9.82. This has seen increased play in builds like Xera's The Writhing Storm, Brawlin and Shabraz, Rael the Everwise, and remember the Locust God was reprinted in Commander 2020 recently too. Bloodchief Ascension, this goes up $1.01 to $19.95. This was seeing some increased play due to Kroxa recently, but now it's showing up in more new deck lists like Tiny Bones Trinket Thief and Vito Thorn of the Dusk Rose. Wooded Bastion, these filter lands are heating up again, and for the most part they basically only see play in Commander nowadays. This one goes up $1.04 to $21.35. Berserk from Conspiracy Take the Crown up $1.05 to $27. This does see additional play now in Calmax the Stormsire builds. Also see some Legacy play too. Wrath of God from Portal up $1.06 to $12.15. Now this is getting harder and harder to find in good condition, which is why it is slowly climbing up. It is a highly played Commander card and even sees a little modern play, but there are a lot of different printings out there. Heartwood Storyteller up $1.07 to $13. This has seen more play with Xera's The Writhing Storm around. Mox Diamond from Stronghold. This is on the reserve list, but did get a reprinting in foil and from the Vault Relics before they close the loophole. It goes up $1.11 to $340. This is a highly played Commander card, especially in competitive builds. Sees Legacy play too. Mirari's Wake. This is the one from Conspiracy. It goes up $1.14 to $21.23. And this is seeing more play now in Ren and Ciri Inseparable builds. Urabrask the Hidden from New Phyrexia up $1.15 to $10.96. This is seeing some increased play with a new Core Set 2021 card, Fiery Emancipation. Razaketh the Foul-Blooded up $1.15 to $20. Very solid Commander card. It's in some of the Kalia of the Vast builds, and that card is being reprinted in Double Masters. Ophiomancer. This does see play in Yawgmoth Transposition builds and more in the format. It goes up $1.16 to $15.44. Gauntlet of Power from Time Spiral. It goes up $1.19 to $21.99, and this has seen increased play with Fiery Emancipation as well, and it's seeing more play in new Goblin builds being pushed by cards like Conspicuous Snoop, Muxus Goblin Grandee, and the Krenko Mob Boss reprint. Also, if you watched Commander Versus this week, you might have noticed this card in the deck. It was in a Edamaro First to Desire build. Hugori the Stillwind from Betrayers of Kamigawa goes up $1.22 to $7.50. This is in Yuriko the Tiger Shadow builds, and that was reprinted recently in Mystery Boosters. Maronar from Champions of Kamigawa up $1.22 to $14.99. Now, this was recently reprinted in foil in two different products, WPN Mystery Boosters as well as the Year of the Rat Secret Lair. But it is a popular Rat commander, and Rat decks have gotten a boost from cards like Species Specialist in Commander 2020 and the reprinting of Ogre Slumlord in Jumpstart. Thornbite Staff, I might use my one per video. This is an uncommon for Morningtide, going up $1.24 to $11.45. Remember, that time period of Magic, there was a recession in the game, less packs were cracked, and these cards tend to get a little spiky at times, usually the rares, but sometimes the uncommons too. Recently, this was seeing more play in Commander and Kelsey and the Plague builds, but now we also have those new Goblin Commander decks floating around, and they like this card as well. Anointed Procession up $1.24 to $27.55. This is seeing increased play in Rin and Ciri Inseparable builds. Also, this is in a Lend of the Duskrose decks, and that became a better commander recently due to the rules change. Winds of Change, this is the Portal copy. Again, a situation where you have a particular copy that's getting hard to find in good condition. This goes up $1.24 to $48.86. But this card is seeing more commander play now with Zera's the Writhing Storm around. It's also in Brawlin and Shabraz builds. And again, don't forget the Locust God reprint from Commander 2020 is most likely influencing this a little too. Time Stretch from 10th edition, solid commander card, seeing some play now with Teferi Master of Time. It goes up $1.26 to $21.29. Aurelia the War Leader from Gatecrash up $1.27 to $13. Another card that you might find in those Kalia builds we've been talking about. Again, that card's being reprinted in Double Masters soon. Also, other Key Angels have been reprinted recently. Beyond that, this has also seen increased commander play in Winona Joiner of Forces decks. Honden of Seeing Winds from Eternal Masters. This goes up $1.31 to $1.91, and it is getting a push from those new shrines from Core Set 2021. Burgeoning Great Lands builds and also other builds as well. Conspiracy Take the Crown up $1.25 to $17.50. Commander 2016 goes up $1.41 to $20.18. Gamble from Eternal Masters up $1.43 to $13.82. This is still a tutor, even if it does have a drawback, and sometimes you can make that drawback work to your advantage. This has seen more play recently in builds like Rael the Everwise and Brawlin and Shabraz. Sakashima the Imposter from Saviors of Kamigawa up $1.45 to $21.70. This was recently reprinted in Mystery Boosters, but it is seeing increased commander play now with Gyruda Doom of Depths, and it is showing up in Bruvac the Grandiloquent deck list as well. Fabricate, this is a highly played commander card. Many times you'll find this in Urza Lord High Artificer builds. Many competitive decks play this. Meriden goes up $1.10 to $6.97. Plane Chase up $1.48 to $8.99. Homeward Path from Commander, this particular copy drying up a little this week, but it is highly played. It goes up $1.50 to $12.07. This is also good with a new Jumpstart legendary creature, Inayaz the Galforce. Imperial Recruiter from Masters 25 goes up $1.58 to $49.98. This has seen increased play in Zerta Dawnwaker as well as Winona Joiner of Forces builds. Sees legacy play too many times in Painter's Grindstone decks. Riku of Two Reflections from Commander, a very popular commander, goes up $1.59 this week to $37.69. Okagachi Vengeful Kami goes up $1.60 to $8.82. This is only found in foil. Many times you'll find this in the Ur-Dragon builds, and of course that was reprinted not too long ago. Also, it's a fairly popular commander on its own for Spirits decks. Twilight Mire from Eventide, another filter land, going up $1.61 to $15.49. Numenarch Ascension, great in Angel builds, but shows up in other places too. This is the one from Zendikar. It goes up $1.62 to $8.18. Miri Weatherlight Duelist from Commander 2017, only in foil, goes up $1.64 to $11.19. And you can probably guess why this one's going up. Another card being pushed by Rin and Ciri Inseparable. This did get a foil reprint not too long ago in the OMG Kitty Secret Lair. Another Eventide filter land here with Fetid Heath. It goes up $1.67 to $14.49. Kindred Discovery, great in tribal builds and Commander. It goes up $1.73 to $27.41. Replenish on the reserve list goes up $1.73 to $54.37. Sometimes this is in enchantment heavy builds, and those have been popular really since Theros Beyond Death came out, but right now this is moving again because of those core set 2021 shrines. Stoneforge Mystic from World Wake up $1.78 to $43. This has seen increased play in builds like Kelsey and the Plague, Thiemo Luminous Enigmas, or the Dawnwaker. Of course, this card also sees Modern and Legacy play. Dimir Signet from Commander drying up a little bit this week in the marketplace. It goes up $1.81 to $5.10. This is a highly played Commander card, but you can find other versions cheaper. Grave Pact, you'll see this a lot of times in those Commander Teysa Karlov builds, but of course this got better with that new Death Trigger rule, especially if you're trying to build around like Kokusho the Evening Star, for example. And this also will see more play with the Jumpstart card Kjell's Fight Fixer. Stronghold goes up $1.13 to $19.54, 10th edition up $1.81 to $21.99, and 8th edition goes up $2.10 to $26.49. Toxic Deluge from Commander 2013, it's highly played in a lot of different Commander decks. It goes up $2.15 to $37.67. Norwood Priestess sees a little Commander play, but getting hard to find in good condition. It goes up $2.17 to $38.47. Necrogen Mist, another card you might want in your Tiny Bones build. It goes up $2.19 to $6.95 this week. Akroma's Memorial. Future Sight goes up $1.42 to $31.30. Magic 2013 up $2.22 to $29.95. This has seen more play in Ren and Ciri Inseparable builds. Also, Reese the Redeemed was reprinted in Mystery Boosters. That wasn't all that long ago. This card does play really well in those builds too. Alms Collector going up $2.26 to $16.50. This has gained a lot of value recently. It's been pushed by some newer cards, things like Kihira the Orphan Guard, Feline Sovereign. It's in new builds too, including Ren and Ciri Inseparable, and Brawlin and Shabraz. Another Eventide Filterland, Flooded Grove, goes up $2.28 to $19.39 this week. Seedborn Muse from 9th edition up $2.28 to $19.43. The other copies of this card are stabilizing a little bit. This one is still climbing though. This has seen more play recently in a number of builds: Kinnan Bonder Prodigy, Calamax the Stormsire, and Zixara the Exemplary. Fork from Revised on the reserve list. It goes up $2.34 this week to $25.63, and this has seen more play in Commander, Calamax the Stormsire builds. Academy Rector, this is on the reserve list, going up $2.46 to $57.98. This is again solid in heavy enchantment builds, but of course getting a push from those core set 2021 shrines. Power Artifact, also on the reserve list, going up $2.61 to $2.25. This is a classic Commander combo enabler. Liliana of the Val from Modern Masters 2017, it goes up $2.73 to $65.36. So when you look at this card, initially you think it's a Modern card, but it actually is seeing more Commander play now. It's showing up in Tiny Bones lists, and it did get a Command Zone mention this week too. Contamination, this shows up in a lot of mono black builds, and that could include Tiny Bones. It goes up $2.79 to $27.74. Natural Order from Portal, it goes up $2.81 to $30.78. Very popular Commander card, also see some legacy play. Pearl Medallion from Tempest goes up $2.85 to $12.48. This whole cycle is fantastic for various Commander decks. This sees a lot of play, shows up in Angel builds, which have been popular recently. Imp's Mischief goes up $3.15 to $16.42, another very popular Commander card from mono black decks, including now Tiny Bones. Blightsteel Colossus from Mirrodin Besieged. Now, this is getting reprinted in Double Masters, but it does go up this week $3.25 to $75. This has seen more Commander play in Kinnan builds, and this also sees Vintage play too. Ally Painlands are starting to get a little bit hot too. Keep an eye on those. This is Adhikar Waste from 10th edition. It goes up $3.32 to $16.99, and much like the Filterlands we've talked about today, basically only sees play in Commander nowadays. Green Sun Zenith from Eternal Masters. This is good in those big mana builds, but it sees a lot of Commander play. It has seen more play though in decks like Kinnan Bonder Prodigy and Zixara the Exemplary. It goes up $3.38 this week to $19.99. Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, another angel that happens to see play with Kalia of the Vast. Also, this is a card that could see some additional play with Fiery Emancipation out there too. Masters 25 up $2.94 to $13.56. Commander Anthology Volume 2 goes up $3.39 to $16.58. That one is only in foil. Colony Hydra up $3.39 to $19.72. This does see play in some of the Hydra builds, but it doesn't always show up in those Zixara decks because it is not an X spell. Kozilek Butcher of Truth, typically found in Kozilek the Great Distortion builds, also has seen more play since Kinnan Bonder Prodigy has been here. Ultimate Masters up $2.29 to $54.18. Modern Masters 2015 up $3.85 to $54.49. Chrome Mox from Mirrodin goes up 418 to 78.97. This does see Commander play, especially in competitive builds, and also sees a fair amount of Legacy play. Grim Monolith on the reserve list goes up 423 to 239.99. Highly played Commander card, another good one for competitive Commander. Stroke of Genius, the one from Urza Saga, is drying up a little bit, going up 432 this week to 1049. This has seen increased Commander play recently in Zexara builds, and also does see a little Legacy play. Lake of the Dead on the reserve list goes up 447 to 38.56. Now, this does see some play in different builds, but it is another card showing up in some of those Tiny Bones deck lists. Copy Artifact on the reserve list, revised goes up $2.80 to $50. Unlimited goes up $4.49 to $148.49 this week. Many times you'll find this in Urza Lord High Artificer builds, and also this is another great competitive Commander card. Speaking of competitive Commander, Sylvan Library is another solid card for that format. This was also on game nights this week, which could have pushed it a little bit. Highly played card though, generally in the format. Sees Legacy and some Vintage play as well. Eternal Masters up 430 to 69.52. 5th edition goes up 492 to 65.32. Goblin Sharpshooter. This is the one from the Explosion Sound Secret Lair. It goes up 502 to $20.21. This is another Goblin being pushed by some of those new cards, Conspicuous Snoop, Muxus Goblin Grandy, that Krenko Mob Boss reprint. This also has seen additional play in Kelsey and the Plague builds. Sliver Queen. This is the Sliver Lord on the reserve list. It goes up 603 to 175.96. Time Spiral, also on the reserve list, up 745 to 113.63. Wow. This card just keeps going up, it feels like. This has seen increased play in Zera's The Writhing Storm builds, also Brawlin and Shabraz decks. And again, remember the Locust God was reprinted recently too. Survival of the Fittest from Exodus. This is on the reserve list, but did get a printing as a Judge foil before they closed the loophole. It goes up 791 to 132.91. This has seen some competitive Commander play, and has seen increased play in builds like Kinnan Bonder Prodigy, Cathril Aspect Warper, and Nethori Apex of Death. Transmute Artifact, fantastic Commander card if you're lucky enough to own one. It is on the reserve list. Many times you'll find these in Urza Lord High Artificer builds, but many other places too. It goes up $8.39 this week to $229.95. Would you believe me if I told you that the card moving the most this week in this section was not a reserve list card, it was Azuri's Predation, going up $8.78 to $13.47? Well, that is the case, and if you're wondering why, check out the Game Nights episode that came out this week around the 18-minute mark. This card did some work, and of course, being in such a high-profile production, tons of attention came to this card, and the supply went down quickly in the secondary market. That brings us to the Premium Spotlight, and I do want to thank you all for the feedback in the comments section last week. I asked the questions, do you like the Premium Spotlight? Do you like the Pauper Spotlight? Do you want me to keep doing those? And I got a huge response. A lot of people did like the Pauper Spotlight, don't get me wrong, but when I looked at the numbers, a lot more people wanted the Premium Spotlight back. So for now, I'm going to bring back the Premium Spotlight. If the videos get shorter, which hopefully they will in a few weeks, maybe then we can entertain looking at the Pauper Spotlight again. Let's check out a premium card that is going up in value. My quick disclaimer, I don't like to spend too much time or look at too many of these cards because many times if you don't get a lot of sales any given week on a rare card, you get bad data and that data can be manipulated. But I try to find at least one card in this segment that feels like it's moving mostly naturally with the market. This week I went with Auntie's Hovel. And this is the foil copy, obviously, from Lorwyn, going up $20.18 to $68.16. All right, that does it for another episode of The Market Watch. Until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.